A data certification is one of the quickest ways to get hired, especially as a beginner without prior experience. AI is changing things, but the data analyst job is here to stay, assuming you have the right updated skills, including AI, by taking certifications. Now, why care what I have to say? Well, I started my channel talking about data analytics over 3 years ago, and that was all I did back then. I've made tutorials, reviewed courses for over 3 years with millions of views, and I've created some of the most popular data analytics guides on YouTube, helping thousands of people start their careers in data. Everything's public. Now, I totally agree. Most courses and certs are a complete BS and waste of time. But these 9 certs actually matter for becoming a data analyst in 2026 with no degree or prior work experience. And at the end, we'll cover some advanced level certs too, so let's begin. The first certification is by Microsoft called Power BI Data Analyst Associate, or simply PL300. Now, this one is perfect for beginners and one of the most valuable data analyst certifications ever. Recruiters literally scan the internet and resumes looking for this stuff. I'm not going to waste any time, so let's check the details really quickly. The objective is to demonstrate methods and best practices aligning with business and tech requirements for modeling, visualizing, and analyzing data with Power BI. Basically, to make it really simple, this certification is data analytics plus Power BI. That's it. Now, why should you spend a whole course learning Power BI and get a whole certification on it, right? Why? This website actually analyzed millions of data job listings, and here you can see the data analyst job. Power BI shows up at the top of the list with about 20% of the job listings specifically asking for Power BI skills. Now look, let's be honest, it's never going to replace learning SQL or Python, but if you think of your resume like a toolkit, Power BI is a very strong tool to have in your toolkit. It also integrates well with other Microsoft products like Excel and even Microsoft Azure, which is very popular when we're doing data analytics in the cloud. Now, this certification is about creating data visualizations and dashboards and reports so people can use them in your company and explore the data for themselves, which is called self-service analytics. Now, it says intermediate level, but that's just kind of because you do need some studying and you can take it in like a week. It's still pretty quick. I'd say it's for beginners, and we'll cover that in a second. Now, the certification is reviewed every 12 months, so I only recommend getting this one if you're applying for a job right away. I would say though that 12 months should be sufficient, but you never know in this job market unless you're well prepared. Now, the exam itself covers 4 different areas of Power BI and data analytics. It covers data preparation, data modeling, data visualization, and data analysis. And then a 5th one which is managing and securing Power BI, which is kind of like a specific part of that course to that tool. There is a free learning course, which you can see right here, of about 20 hours, and also a free practice assessment, which I highly recommend. I can't stress this enough. You need to take the practice assessment. There's also an exam sandbox you can play around with, and just some other things to get more comfortable before the exam. Now, in the exam, you get 100 minutes, and if you fail, you can retake it 24 hours later, so no problem. But each attempt costs $165 in the US. Now, price will vary depending on your region, but that's why I highly recommend studying and taking the practice exam, which is free, so why not do it? But I actually don't recommend starting with this data certification. I recommend doing this instead. Take the Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst Certificate on Coursera, which is nearly 500,000 students. And this is kind of like a longer, more complete learning track for the official PL300 certification. It's much more detailed, much better, and just much more valuable. And if you finish this professional cert, you'll learn a ton of stuff in addition to preparing for the cert, and you'll be extremely well prepared for PL300 Microsoft official cert. So it's a win-win. It's also beginner level, 5 months to 10 hours a week, so it's, a lot longer, I'll be honest, than the 20-hour prep course, but definitely worth it, trust me, and you'll be much more likely to pass the exam as well. And you also get a 50% discount on the real Microsoft exam if you complete this Coursera program first. So instead of just taking the certification quickly, you'll also build projects, build a portfolio, learn this stuff in detail, and you'll not only have a certification, but actually have a portfolio and a good resume you can show to recruiters, and that is how you land a job in data. So I love these 2 ones, especially when you combine the Microsoft one with the Coursera one. It's a really good combo. Only reason not to take it is if you prefer Tableau or something else instead of Power BI, or if you're still missing SQL skills, that should always come first. Next up is the CompTIA certification. Now, founded back in 1982, CompTIA is a leading organization for certs that are specifically known for their A+ cert, which helps a lot of people break into IT. But they also have security certifications, network certs, and of course, our data analyst certification. It's called Data Plus V2, as it's a new version they just released. I'll quote the website saying it's an early career data analytics certification that shows you have the practical skills to turn raw data into insights. You'll be tested on your ability to analyze, interpret, and communicate data clearly, solving business problems, standing out to employers, and making data-driven decisions. It's basically a perfect one for data analysts. Now, we can still take a look at the content, if it's going to be worth it when you actually look at the exam, right? What are you going to be tested on? 20% is data concepts and environments, which is kind of like data fundamentals and the basic tools you can, use. The next part, 22%, is acquisition and preparation. Basically how you get the data and where you get the data from, and how you prepare it for analysis by exploring it, transforming it, making it into the right format that you need. The next part is my favorite, data analysis at 24%, where you'll be surprisingly analyzing your data, communicating results, and dealing with a lot of issues, trust me. And then there's a 20% visualization and reporting, where you can create these funny looking charts, and you can make your manager happy by delivering good reports. Then some data governance, which is kind of the boring part, but very important. It's how you manage the data, how you store it, how you deal with versions, documentation, traceability, privacy, access control, all these things, quality encryption. These things are very important and play a big role in the other steps to make it a success, or more so to not make it a huge failure when somebody steals all your data. That's pretty much all you need to know. Now, the exam itself was released in 2025 and it's 90 minutes and 90 questions. So it's 1 question per minute. And it's definitely not about reasoning or, doing a project yourself. It's basically just multiple choice questions, mostly answering quick knowledge stuff. They do recommend 18 to 24 months in a data analyst position, which I don't really agree with. If you practice properly and actually learn, you can take this. But I do recommend that you should probably learn at least 6 months worth of data analytics and do projects for 6 months before you take this exam. It's supposed to be a little bit difficult, and that's kind of the point. Great option, not that easy, but for people willing to take on the challenge. Next up is DataCamp. Now, DataCamp is one of the key players in the data space with over 19 million learners. That's a lot of people, more than many countries, so they must be doing something right. They offer certification for aspiring data analysts, which I've featured before on the channel. It's industry recognized and always gotten great feedback from you guys, so I thought I would just bring it back again, why not? There are 2 different levels to it, and the first level or first certification focuses on the basics and becoming kind of like just learning the basics. The second one is then about becoming job ready, so it's more like basic and then job readiness, which in my opinion is a very good approach for beginners. Now let's talk about the details. You sign up for the certification right here, and you have 30 days after you register to complete the certification and complete a few steps. If you successfully pass these steps, you are officially certified. That's it. The steps include a timed exam and a practical exam. Now, the timed exam focuses on testing your knowledge in a specific amount of time, which makes sense, and whether you actually understand the underlying theory. So it's more about theory in the time exam. The practical exam tests your real data skills and whether you can actually work and do the job of a data analyst. And so how it's going to look like when you take the test is kind of like for the basic level, you need a first level 2-hour timed exam and a practical exam. That's it, 2 exams. The job ready level, so 1 level above, has 2 timed exams, and one of them is 2 hours, another one is 1 hour, plus a practical exam. So a really interesting thing that nobody seems to be talking about is you can actually pick your own skills when you take these exams. So for example, most courses out there, they kind of force you to learn either R or Python or something like that, but DataCamp lets you actually choose that yourself. So you don't have to learn both, which is a much better thing to focus on one thing like R or Python, whatever you prefer, and then SQL. Now, I shamelessly personally prefer Python, but R is a great option too. And the learning experience is incredibly hands-on and interactive here. And the easiest way to prepare for their certification is kind of just to follow their data analyst in Python or data analyst in SQL career tracks. But you could just prepare in any way using their platform. You have access to all their courses. And then once you get certified, you're also part of the exclusive community of other certified people.
Wow, I love it.
And there you can find like things like events, private forums, group chats, other resources to help you in your journey of applying for jobs, which I definitely like. They've made the whole process extremely simple to kind of learn the skills, pass the exams, get certified, and then join their community, which is one of the big advantages of DataCamp. Now, to master the data visualization skills, which is a core part of being a data analyst, you can check out their Data Analyst and Power BI track. You go through a complete learning program co-created by DataCamp and Microsoft, specifically designed to prepare you for their official PL300 certification, which we briefly mentioned before, also known as Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst. This is one of the top certifications and highly respected across the data industry. It's kind of like a cheat code on your resume, as I said, especially if you're just starting out. And plus, again, if you use DataCamp to prepare, you can get a 50% discount on the certification. So you're effectively getting the best of both worlds. You're getting practical experience actually doing the projects and working on these things, and also a pathway to an industry-recognized certification for a discounted price. Another option for you Tableau users is going to be the Tableau Certified Data Analyst certification, and this one focuses specifically on, surprisingly, Tableau. Now, the data visualization software Tableau is made and owned by Salesforce, and it's one of the top data skills employers look for. You take the actual certification on Tableau's own site, but DataCamp helps you prepare all the way. You simply follow their Tableau learning track, which teaches you pretty much everything you need to know. And then you head over to Tableau's own website, pass the certification, pass the exam, and get certified. I'm a big fan of these tech certifications, and you can either combine the general data analyst cert, or you can take them on their own. They're completely fine on their own too. Would definitely recommend. Moving on, we have the Google Advanced Data Analytics Cert. So look, I'm a big fan of the Google certificates, but the basic version is not good enough anymore. Learn in-demand skills like statistical analysis, Python, regression, and machine learning in less than 6 months. That's what I'm talking about. Now you say, Lucas, why the heck should a data analyst learn all these things? The truth is, everything isn't perfect, and you don't actually need everything. You'll see that the course starts with foundations of data science, and that's very good. But as a data analyst, we don't need all of it. It talks about translating data into insights, statistics, regression, machine learning. And in my opinion, the reason why it's a good option is because it goes beyond the data analytic skills. And the job market is quickly changing, and if you just know like how to do some SQL or create some cool visualizations, you're not really future-proofing your career. It's much better to learn a broader set of data skills and as much as you can learn. And everything you do in this course is using Python, which is literally the #1 programming language and one of the most in-demand skills for data analysts, data scientists, machine learning engineers, AI engineers, so many different jobs. And it works perfectly in combination with the other courses like the one up next. And that is Microsoft Data Visualization. Develop skills in data analysis and visualization, build job-ready skills, or so they say, for an in-demand career in data visualization in as little as 3 months, no prior degree or experience required. Now, in my opinion, this is kind of like the perfect complement if you just want to focus on data viz, making charts, graphs, reports, and working with Power BI. Many of these courses actually overlap with Microsoft's Data Analytics certificate, but this one is kind of just like a shorter version if you only want to focus on the data visualization part. Absolutely worth it if that's your objective. Next up is a more advanced certification, which is Microsoft Fabric Analytics Engineer Associate. Now, full disclaimer, I don't recommend this for complete beginners, but it's also not as hard as people think. Fabric is Microsoft's cloud-based analytics platform. It's part of the broader Microsoft Azure ecosystem, which you might be familiar with. If not, that's fine. Azure is used by a lot of companies for analytics, machine learning, and all that stuff. It's a valuable skill, and we can see that the role recommends this for data engineers as well as data analysts. And kind of what it does is help you prepare and enrich data for analysis. Basically, you're building skills to getting data ready in a Microsoft Fabric to be analyzed. You also secure and maintain analytics assets, like for example, your data, and implement and manage semantic models, which can be used to generate reports and analyze data. So it's kind of like a mix of all these things of infrastructure, analyzing, maintaining all the data. And there's a free practice assessment, a learning course of about 25 hours, which is for free. And the exam is a 100-minute test for $165 in the US, but varies by country. So who should take the certification? Again, I don't recommend it for beginners. It's kind of ideal for data engineers or more senior aspiring data analysts. It's intermediate level. And then we have one of my favorite certifications, Microsoft DP900. Now this one is for beginners and it's called Microsoft Certified Azure Data Fundamentals, a much better option for all beginners. The goal here is pretty simple, and it's to show knowledge of core data concepts related to Microsoft Azure and their platform. It's beginner level and made for the data engineer primarily, but I think it can be extremely valuable for data analysts too, as more and more is moving to the cloud and platforms like Microsoft Azure. And showing that you have these skills improves your data analytics resume, even if it's primarily for data engineers. It literally says, this certification is made for you if you're a candidate beginning to work with data in the cloud. So if you're just looking to get started with that, then it's a great one. There's a free practice assessment and a learning path, but really there's only two core things you need. You should understand relational and non-relational data, and you should understand the different types of data workloads like transactional and analytical. You'll learn that in the free course in just a few hours. Slap it on your resume and boom, you prove basic proficiency in Microsoft Azure. Massive advantage as a beginner. That's it guys. I also reviewed some more of the top data analytics courses. Check this one out right here and goodbye for now.